Have you ever opened your fridge and noticed that everything was clean, fresh, and secure? I am certain that I have. We've been taught for the most of our lives that the refrigerator is the ideal location to preserve food's quality and shelf life. But what if I told you that some of the most popular foods in your refrigerator right now, things you most likely consume every week, are really getting less nutritious and flavorful and occasionally even dangerous? I'm not referring to odd or foreign meals, either. I'm referring about the commonplace ingredients we used to prepare Sunday brunches, family dinners, and a quick sandwich on a rainy afternoon when we were kids. Food safety is not the only issue here. It has to do with wisdom, the kind of calm wisdom that accumulates over time at the kitchen table. It's about taking care of our bodies, our customs, and our food in ways that are authentic, easy, and organic. I therefore want to share with you 10 common items that are never appropriate to keep in the refrigerator. Yes, 10. And don't worry, I'll go over each one with you, explain why in simple, understandable terms, and provide quick, doable advice on how to keep them fresh. You might be surprised by some of these. Some may bring back memories of your parents' or grandparents' methods. In any case, I hope this is more like a calm conversation between two old friends in the kitchen than a lecture. So, get a hot beverage, settle in, and let's explore the kitchen for a little while. Are you prepared to start? 1. Garlic. Let's start with a culinary staple that has been around for many generations. Garlic. Garlic is always there when preparing a large Sunday meal, roasting veggies, or cooking a pot of soup for a loved one. It is one of those substances that contributes more than just taste. It gives warmth, depth, and comfort. However, the majority of individuals are unaware of this. All of that can be ruined by putting garlic in the fridge. Garlic has a tendency to sprout when stored in cold conditions. Those tiny green sprouts emerging from the cloves might have caught your eye. Although the branches are bitter, they are not harmful. They alter your food's flavor, and not in a positive way. Additionally, cold promotes moisture, which is bad for garlic. It may result in softness, mold, or even spoiling. Furthermore, garlic in the refrigerator has the ability to absorb the smells of other items in the vicinity. It may therefore taste like leftovers from the previous evening rather than garlic. How should garlic be stored, then? Keep it cool but not chilly, and keep it dry. Your pantry is the ideal location for a mesh bag, an open basket, or a paper bag. Garlic requires airflow. Give it some air. Unless you have previously peeled or sliced it, do not tightly package it. Try to use the individual cloves within a few days if you have already split apart the bulb and begun using them. Additionally, garlic that has been chopped or crushed in advance can be stored in the refrigerator, but only if it is properly wrapped in a tiny container. Here's another crucial safety advice. Garlic preserved in oil needs to be kept in the refrigerator and consumed within a week. This is due to the fact that garlic stored in oil at room temperature can produce a harmful type of bacteria. The ideal option, however, is to leave whole, unpeeled garlic outside to thrive in a dry, well-ventilated area. Because properly maintained garlic retains its strong, recognizable flavor and enhances your family recipes, memories, and feasts. Let's discuss something really unique, honey. There's more to honey than just sweetening. It is age-old, restorative, and almost immortal. In Egyptian tombs, archaeologists have discovered containers of honey that are thousands of years old and completely safe to consume. That is honey's inherent magic. However, honey is not without flaws. Additionally, putting it in the refrigerator is one of the most common blunders individuals make. Honey crystallizes in cold weather. In other words, it gets thick, granular, and occasionally nearly solid. Although it is much more difficult to utilize, crystallized honey is still safe to consume. It spreads more slowly, doesn't blend well with your tea, and loses some of its smooth, flowery flavor. Moisture is another concern associated with refrigeration. Even a small amount of moisture can enter the jar if it is not firmly sealed. Fermentation may result from that, altering the flavor and reducing the shelf life. Even if it doesn't happen often, honey's inherent ability to last for years makes it a needless danger. Then, how should honey be stored? Store it at room temperature in a dark or darkened area in a firmly sealed container. A kitchen closet or pantry will do. Keep it out of bright sunlight and don't put it in the refrigerator. And there's an easy way to stop your honey from crystallizing. To dissolve the crystals, simply put the jar in a bowl of warm water. That isn't boiling, and stir it gently. It will revert to its liquid, golden state as if nothing had occurred. For generations, honey has been used to sweeten tea, ease sore throats, and even aid in the healing of minor burns and injuries. It is patient, strong, and pure. Therefore, let's handle it with the same consideration and patience. Because when we do, honey can last for years, enhancing our lives and bringing sweetness to our cuisine. 3. Let's talk about tomatoes, which many of us utilize on a daily basis. Tomatoes, they can be chopped for a salad, sliced for a sandwich, or simmered in a sauce. The proper storage conditions make them juicy, vibrant, and flavorful. Here's the reality, though. One of the quickest ways to destroy the flavor and texture of tomatoes is to store them in the refrigerator. Fruits that are delicate include tomatoes. Their ripening process naturally stops when they are exposed to chilly temperatures. Their rich, sweet flavor is developed through that method. Tomatoes become lifeless, mealy, and boring without it. It may go unnoticed the first time, but eventually you might question why your tomatoes don't taste the same as they once did. The refrigerator is frequently the only answer. It's not only the taste either. Tomato lycopene levels are also decreased by cold temperatures. A natural antioxidant that promotes heart health and may help reduce the risk of several types of cancer is lycopene. As we mature and strive for greater nutrients in every bite, that becomes even more crucial. What ought one to do instead? Your tomatoes should be kept on the counter. To prolong freshness and reduce moisture loss, keep them stem side down at room temperature. Give them a few days if they are still a bit firm. They will ripen in a lovely, organic way. You can now store a tomato in the refrigerator once it is completely ripe and you know you won't be able to consume it immediately away. But only for a little while. Additionally, let it to return to room temperature before eating. That helps restore some of the texture and flavor you've been lacking. Like the meals we share with the people we care about, tomatoes should be juicy, vibrant, and overflowing with that garden-fresh flavor. 4. Let's take a moment to discuss bread, which is among the most soothing and familiar dishes. Bread always makes us feel at home, whether it's a warm slice with butter in the morning, a sandwich for lunch, or a piece of toast with soup on a wet night. It is straightforward, fulfilling, and frequently filled with memories. However, a lot of individuals are unaware of this. Instead of slowing down the staleness of bread, storing it in the refrigerator speeds it up. Given that cold typically extends the shelf life of food, that may seem strange. It's different with bread, though. A process known as starch retrogradation occurs more rapidly in the refrigerator. Bread becomes crumbly, tough, and dry at that point as the starch molecules begin to crystallize. Furthermore, it goes beyond simply becoming stale. Bread's texture can also be altered in different ways by the cold air in the refrigerator. Sometimes the inside turns chewy and firm, and the outside gets wet and mushy. This bread isn't exactly what you want to have with your coffee in the morning. Instead, how should bread be stored? Store it in a cold, dry location such as the pantry, a cupboard, or a bread box if you want to consume it within a few days. Either keep it in its original packaging or place it in a paper bag that lets some air out. This prevents the inside from drying out while also preventing the crust from becoming overly soft. Now, don't put any bread in the refrigerator if you have more than you can consume in a short period of time. Put it in a frozen state. The greatest technique to extend the shelf life of bread is to freeze it. If it hasn't been sliced already, simply do so first, then remove what you need when you need it. It will taste almost like it came from the bakery whether you toast it right out of the freezer or reheat it in the oven. For many generations, bread has been a staple of our family tables and daily life. One slice at a time, we can keep it tender, fresh, and prepared to nourish us if we take a little care in how we store it. 5. Let's talk about melons now that we have uncut ones. A sunny summer day with watermelon. Eat cantaloupe for breakfast. After supper, honeydew. These are the fruits that have the ability to unite people. However, many people are unaware of this. Melons that are whole and uncut shouldn't be kept in the refrigerator. Although it may appear that keeping them in the refrigerator keeps them fresh, doing so actually prevents them from ripening completely. And ripening is what gives a melon its sweetness, juicy texture, and nutrient-dense content. The natural sugars in a whole melon are not given enough time to develop when it is refrigerated too quickly. You frequently wind up with a bland or watery fruit instead of a tasty, refreshing one. Furthermore, taste is not the only factor. According to studies, melons that are kept at room temperature have more antioxidants, such as vitamin C and beta-carotene. These nutrients aid in healthy aging, combat inflammation, and boost the immune system. As we age, we all get increasingly concerned about certain things. The situation changes when a melon is cut open. To keep the fruit safe and fresh after cutting, cover it and store it in the refrigerator. Even so, it is advisable to consume it within 3 or 4 days. Therefore, do not put a whole melon in the refrigerator right away the next time you bring it home from the supermarket or the farmer's market. Give it time to ripen naturally on the counter and savor the full flavor that nature intended. Because occasionally a melon may become something genuinely amazing with only a little space and patience. 6. Onions. Next up is a staple in the kitchen. Onions. They serve as the foundation for a lot of delicious meals. Onions provide depth and richness to soups, stews, and stir-fries that nearly nothing else can. They are among the ingredients we frequently grab without giving them much thought. Here's something to consider, though. You shouldn't keep whole onions in the fridge. Onions' natural sugars become more active when they are kept in a humid, cold environment, such as your refrigerator. They may become mushy or even slimy as a result. Additionally, they might begin to develop mold or green sprouts, neither of which you want in your meal. The smell is another issue. The pungent fragrance of onions might spread throughout the refrigerator, can infiltrate your milk, fruit, and butter. Yogurt with an onion scent is not desirable. How should they be stored, then? Whole, unpeeled onions should be stored in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated area, such as a counter basket or pantry. Steer clear of plastic bags since they retain moisture. Use a mesh sack, paper bag, or simply leave them loose with lots of airflow instead. Additionally, and this is crucial, avoid storing onions next to potatoes. Onions may deteriorate more quickly due to the fumes released by potatoes. Imagine it as two strong personalities who simply do not get along in intimate situations. Now, you can keep an onion in the refrigerator if you've previously sliced or peeled it. However, to keep the smell in and everything else secure, make sure it is tightly wrapped in plastic wrap or packed in an airtight container. Storing onions properly does more than just keep your goods safe. Your dinners come together with the flavors you know from home, your kitchens stay fresher, and your food tastes better. 7. Let's take a moment to discuss avocados, a fruit that has become a staple in many contemporary kitchens. Avocados are heart-healthy fats that are rich and creamy. They taste great on toast, in salads, blended into smoothies, or even eaten with a little salt and pepper. However, timing is crucial when it comes to storing them. And placing them too soon in the fridge? Many people make such error without even realizing it. This is what takes place. Ethylene is a natural gas that ripens avocados. The ideal temperature for this ripening process is room temperature. The cold air in the refrigerator slows down or even stops the ripening process of an unripe avocado. The outcome? A fruit that remains tasteless, rubbery, and hard. On the outside, it may appear ripe, but on the inside, it may be stringy, black, or simply not quite right. Now, the refrigerator can help if your avocado is already ripe and you wish to keep it fresh for a day or two more, but only for a short time. Beyond that point, the texture begins to degrade. The taste turns bland or sour, and the good fats start to change. The avocado gets much more sensitive after it is chopped. When exposed to air, the flesh quickly becomes brown. Apply a little lemon or lime juice to the exposed area to slow it down, then keep it in the refrigerator in an airtight container. A lot of people swear by this easy trick. Put an avocado in a paper bag with a banana or apple to ripen it more quickly. Ethylene gas is also released by these fruits, hastening the ripening process. You don't need a refrigerator. So keep in mind to leave your avocados at room temperature to ripen naturally. Refrigerate them only for a brief period of time after they are fully ripe. In this manner, you may savor the rich flavor and velvety texture that make avocados so unique. Let's now discuss something really unique that happens in the kitchen. Olive oil. Olive oil. This is more than just a component. It's customary. A custom that is passed down through generations, particularly in Mediterranean cultures where meals are times of bonding and food is viewed as healing. Olive oil has a deep flavor and a rich, smooth texture that may elevate an ordinary meal to something special. Beyond its flavor, it has genuine health advantages because it is rich in heart-healthy fats and antioxidants that promote healthy aging. However, keeping olive oil in the fridge, that small error has the potential to gradually degrade its quality. Olive oil, especially the good extra virgin olive oil, starts to congeal as it gets cold. It may become hazy or develop waxy white lumps. It may even appear spoiled, but it isn't. The issue is that repeatedly pulling it out of the refrigerator and letting it warm up can cause a cold-warm cycle that progressively alters its flavor and reduces its appeal. Condensation is a further concern. Moisture can develop within olive oil bottles when they are kept in the refrigerator. Over time, even a tiny bit of water can promote bacteria or spoiling, particularly if the bottle is not tightly sealed. Furthermore, the refrigerator does not shield it from light, particularly while the door is open, even though it may shield it from heat. Air, heat, and light. These are olive oil's three adversaries. So where do you keep it? Store your olive oil in a dark, cool location away from the stove, such as a pantry or cupboard. Make sure the cap is constantly on tight and pick a stainless steel container or a dark glass bottle. Your olive oil will remain fresh for months, if not longer, if it is stored in this manner. It will retain all the nutrients that make it so beneficial, along with its lovely golden color and peppery flavor. Here's a polite reminder. There is more to olive oil than just sprinkling it on bread. It is applied on parched hands in the winter. When someone you care about is ill, you mix them into soup. It is nourishing for the spirit as much as the body. So let's give it the attention it needs. 9. Let's now discuss bananas, one of nature's most basic and cherished fruits. Bananas have long been a favorite since they are soft, sweet, and high in potassium. Perhaps you snatched one on your way out the door, sliced it over porridge, or mashed it into pancake batter for the grandchildren. However, you may have been let down if you have ever refrigerated bananas in an attempt to extend their shelf life. Bananas darken on the outside due to the cold air in the refrigerator. The peel becomes brown or even black in a matter of days. Most people assume the fruit has gone sour because of that. Here's the odd bit, though. That banana might not even be ripe inside. The ripening process is stopped in its tracks by cold temperatures. This implies that even though your banana appears overripe on the outside, it may feel hard and taste bland. Scientists refer to this as a chilling damage. Cold causes the cells inside the banana to break down, and even if you remove it from the refrigerator, it never entirely recovers. The taste might never be exactly right, and it won't soften as it should. So how should bananas be stored? Store them at room temperature. To lessen bruising and promote ventilation, hang them from a banana hook if you can. Not a hook? That's all right. Simply keep them away from other fruits that generate natural gases that hasten ripening, such as avocados and apples. Here's the golden rule to follow if your bananas are becoming overly ripe too quickly. Keep out of the refrigerator. Stop. Simply peel them first, cut them into slices if desired, and then freeze them in a bag or container. They are ideal for baking, smoothies, and even later blending into oatmeal. This is a timeless kitchen trick from the past. Ripe bananas should be mashed, portioned, and frozen in little containers. In this manner, you'll always have the foundation of a delicious pancake or banana bread recipe ready when you need it. Therefore, avoid using the refrigerator the next time you bring a bunch of bananas home. They will continue to sweeten your kitchen as they always have if you let them ripen on the counter in their own time. 10. Let's wrap up our list with potatoes, a real classic. Potatoes are a comfort meal we use frequently, whether they are roasted or mashed and used in soups or stews. They're familiar, full, and hearty. It is understandable why practically every kitchen has some sort of bag of them. However, many people are unaware of this. It is not a good idea to keep potatoes in the refrigerator. Something odd occurs when potatoes are exposed to frigid temperatures. Their natural starches begin to convert to sugar sooner than they should. At first, that might not seem like a huge deal. However, it alters everything. It gets grainy. It becomes strangely sweet, particularly if you're going to create crispy fries or mashed potatoes. Additionally, cooking these sweet potatoes over high heat may cause acrylamide, a chemical, to develop. Acrylamide has been examined in some research as a potential carcinogen when ingested in high quantities over time. That being said, a single serving of roasted potatoes is not harmful. However, it serves as a reminder that food storage is more important than we may realize, particularly as we age and become more conscious of what we consume. Moisture is another problem with refrigeration. Refrigerators are often damp environments, and potatoes dislike humidity. They may deteriorate more quickly, develop mold, or even start to smell musty due to the additional moisture. What is the best choice, then? Keep your potatoes in a dry, dark, and cool location, such as a kitchen cabinet, pantry, or cellar. Avoid putting them in plastic bags since they retain moisture. To allow them to breathe, use a mesh sack, paper bag, or even a basket. Additionally, avoid putting potatoes near onions. A natural gas released by onions speeds up the sprouting or rotting of potatoes. They do not get along when stored together, despite the fact that they are both kitchen essentials. When you finally sit down to eat your potatoes, a small alteration in storage can have a significant impact on their flavor, shelf life, and overall health. Let your potatoes dwell outside of the refrigerator. Then, make sure they stay cool, dry, and exactly how you want them. Comforting, hearty, and complete. That's it. These 10 common foods are worthy of a better home than your refrigerator. Every food, from rich olive oil to creamy avocados, from simple potatoes to golden honey, has more to offer than just taste or nutrients. Tradition is carried by them. They have memory. Additionally, they serve as a reminder that sometimes the most sensible solutions are still the old ones. But perhaps eating is not the main topic of our discussion. Perhaps it is about slowing down, being mindful, and creating space for the small things, such as how we preserve tomatoes, make sandwiches, or recall how our mother used to keep garlic in a basket near the stove. Because as we get older, we start to grasp something that younger people frequently overlook. Our lives' rhythm is shaped by our little routines, the silent decisions that promote connection, comfort, and health. How we keep our food in storage, how we prepare food, the way we take a seat and share it with a loved one. These aren't only household tasks. They are customs. They are our silent way of expressing our affection. Therefore, I hope you will take a moment to consider if this item truly belongs in your refrigerator the next time you reach for it. Sometimes the answer comes from recollection rather than a label or science book. From knowledge. From the previous state of affairs. And now, please tell me what you think. What caught you off guard the most among these foods? Over the years, have you been improperly storing any of them? Or perhaps you have a family tip that has endured over time. Leave a comment below with your opinions. For this is more than just a video. It's a community. And in this case, your wisdom counts. Give it a thumbs up if this was useful or significant to you so that others might discover it as well. It's never too late to become wiser, have a healthier lifestyle, and feel more connected. So if you haven't already, think about signing up for Wise Elders Insight. Take care of yourself and your kitchen until the next time comes. Because the wisdom resides there.